Hi everyone, and welcome to World Art 2. I'm sorry I didn't get to meet you face to face, but this is the next best thing. I'm going to make a series of short videos and put them online to try to capture some of the information we would have gotten otherwise in lecture. Make sure you're taking a look at the class PowerPoints that are online. You're looking at the online readings, also on Blackboard, and that you're reading the chapter in your textbook to try to get the most information about each topic that we can. If you have any questions about what's due when or what you're supposed to be reading in any given week, please feel free to send me an email. Today I want to talk a little bit about why we start World Art 2 here. We go in World Art 1 all the way from prehistory to the beginning of the Renaissance, around 1400, give or take a few years. And then we cut it off, we make a break, and we start World Art 2. So what is the Renaissance and why do we start here? The word Renaissance means rebirth, and this is a term that later Western or European American historians and art historians have given to this term that lasts from around 1400 until around the year 1700. And this is a period where we see a growth and a flowering in European and especially Italian art and culture. And we're going to really talk today about three factors that caused the beginning of the Renaissance. So the first factor we're going to discuss today is the Black Death. So you may have heard of the Black Death before. It's also called the Black Plague or the bubonic plague. And this is the disease that is spread by fleas that live on rats. And while this is not an unknown disease in history, we attribute several historical plagues before the late 1300s to the same disease. The particular epidemic or outbreak of disease that we call the Black Death starts in the late 1340s in Italy. And the reason that this particular plague stands out of all the plagues in history is its impact. It kills an incredible number of people. So we don't know for sure. The records are very spotty. And unlike today, there's no official attempt to keep a record of all the deaths. But we think that it kills between 25 and 50% of the population of Europe as a whole, and 50 to 60% of the population of Italy, where people lived in closer proximity and were more likely to live in towns and cities than in other more sparsely populated parts of Europe. And the Black Death is particularly devastating for several reasons. One reason is that the late 1340s sees a series of bad harvests in Italy already. So people may have been a little bit weaker or a little bit more malnourished than they would have been otherwise, and thus more likely to succumb to disease. This profound loss of life, some estimates say as many as 20 million people died in Europe, also revolutionized the labor market. So your skills were far more valuable and you could ask more for them. And some economists point to this as the beginning of a much more free market. People are able to travel and to trade on their skills and on their labor in a much more valuable way. As art historians, the reaction we're interested in is the one that produces art. So there's really two broad groups of reaction to the Black Death. One is a kind of carpe diem reaction. We're all going to die tomorrow, so we better party today. However, the other is exactly the opposite. It says that we are getting this disease because God is angry at us. God is punishing us. And so we should try to make God happy with us. And the way that we do that is through going to church, but also through commissioning religious art. So this period, starting in the late 1300s, we see a huge growth in the amount of religious art that's being made. The next factor that we're going to discuss are changes in religion. So stay tuned for the next video.